Bill Brink here, brinkzone.com, and a topic I want to cover is the effects of yo-yo dieting or cyclical dieting on your body composition. That is, body composition being the amount of muscle you have versus the amount of fat you have and the ratio of both. It's fairly common sense. People that have worked with a lot of people who yo-yo diet or cyclic diet is that they not only do they not tend to lose the fat that they want, they actually tend to get fatter over continuous cycles of dieting. And that's always been a fairly common sense knowledge in the real world, should I say, but it hasn't really been looked at, let's say, in the literature or in the science up until fairly recently. And there was a very interesting review paper that just came out that covers this, which I will link to right here for those with the more science-minded that want to go read this full review paper. But basically what the paper notes, or at least postulates, is that every time people go on a cyclical diet, they want to lose 10-15 pounds. We're not talking about obese people. We're talking about fairly normal weight people. And that is, they tend to want to lose 10-15 pounds, and they go on a diet, and what happens is they lose 10-15 pounds, and then they put it back on, of course, hence the term cyclical or yo-yo. But it's not a neutral effect. That is, every time they do that, their body will overshoot the amount of fat they put back on each and every time. And so what happens is, after each cycle, they actually will put on a little more body fat every time. They may also either put back on the amount of lean body mass they lost, or they might actually lose a little each time they cyclical diet. That depends on quite a number of variables, however, such as how they dieted and the choice of exercise and a number of factors. But be that as it may, the standard cyclical dieter tends to, again, either do no exercise. In fact, of course, you've probably all heard the excuse, I'm going to exercise after I lose the weight, which has got to be the lamest excuse of all the excuses I've ever heard to not exercise, but that's another video. So it's an interesting effect. It's one that's actually not fully understood as far as the mechanisms and the hormones that are going on that are understood. That is, hormones such as leptin and others don't fully explain this effect. And it also is coupled to two different mechanisms. One is the amount of fat you are losing and gaining and how fast you do it. The other is the amount of lean body mass you are losing and gaining. And the two of them are actually separately coupled as far as how they make the body overshoot the amount of fat you put on, which is fairly interesting because the effect of the loss of lean body mass as it affects overshooting of body fat is not really very well researched. So this is something a lot of people sort of innately knew or understood, but has not really been looked at. So like I say, I would give this paper a read. So what does it mean to you in the real world? Well, in the real world, basically normal weight people who just want to lose 10-15 pounds, the more extreme the diet, the more times you do this cyclical type thing, the poor dieting, the lack of exercise is going to make you actually fatter over time. And this is likely part of the obesity epidemic because, of course, you can start out fairly normal weight and do these cyclical diets or yo-yo dieting, and over time you end up getting fatter and fatter, not leaner and leaner. Now, the only time you're going to get leaner and stay lean, of course, is if you go on a good nutrition plan, the correct exercise, and so forth, which again is beyond the scope of a little video like this, and keep it off. And that's pretty much it. Now, there's people are under a lot of pressure, of course, to be like lean all the time or look a certain way. And, you do, of course, have to go something within line of the genetics you were given and, the real world you have to live, which is going to work and chasing kids and whatever. And so people have to find that medium that works for them. And again, and that can be figured out through a number of possibilities, such as regularly testing your body fat, not your weight, but your actual body fat, using simple calipers. And you don't do that often, drive yourself crazy by doing that daily. We're talking more, once a week or once a month type thing. But the take home from this video is, like I say, it is shown that cyclical dieting is not just a neutral thing. That is, the 10-15 pounds you took off and put back on is not the same 10-15 pounds. It's probably going to have a little more body fat and a little less muscle mass every time you do it, and is actually going to lead to you over time actually getting fatter and fatter, which is what you're trying to avoid. And this is where the frustration of cyclical dieters comes in. They lose weight, they put it back on, they do it again, it gets harder and harder, and they look worse and worse, and there you go. So give that paper a read if you are of a science nature. It's a very good paper. And the take home is, again, if you're going to lose weight, do it steadily, do it smart, do it with the proper nutrition. always do it with exercise, including resistance exercise. That is a key to maintain the lean body mass, taking the fat off over time, and not ruining your body composition. So yes, the answer to the title of this video is yeah, dieting can actually make you fatter over time if it's done incorrectly. So I hope this info helps, and you might want to sub up because you can see I cover the info and the data in an objective manner. Most don't, especially on YouTube channels, and see you all on the Brink Zone.